Hi there, Kingsley here. Today we are talking about how to be the wife your husband needs. Now, I know this can be a challenge for a lot of wives, but it's so important to be able to do this, to really do this if you want to have a happy and fulfilling marriage. Additionally, when you become the wife your husband needs, it aligns biblically with you becoming what the Bible describes as the helpmeet for him. Now, it's also an opportunity for you to for your own personal growth as you become the confident and self-assured extraordinary wife. And I'll make the case for that in a few moments, because that is what I believe, that when you become that, when you can truly fulfill that and shut the noise of the world out. Don't listen to the noise of so many who would tell you otherwise, because God has a plan for your marriage. He designed it and he knows what it needs. So please, can I ask you to shut down the voices of those, and even some people who you would think, because of their biblical alignment, as they say, would want you to have a successful marriage. But I find those who may not themselves have had such or is having such will try to let you become like them or want your marriage to become like them. Why listen to those individuals? So I want you to share with you in this video three strategies that you can take to become the wife your husband needs, and in so doing becoming the extraordinary wife and fulfilling the biblical assignment that God has for your life. I'll also share with you what I believe some common objections that some wives have, and I understand it, and I'll show you how to overcome them, because you may have an objection. As you hear me talk about this, you may have some thoughts that possibly is seemingly doubtful or is having a resistance to, or feel an objection to what I'm saying. Now, the sole intention of all that I'll share with you in this video is so you can become that wife. And I want you to know I'm coming from a place of not trying to somehow, say that as a wife that we husband don't have a part to play. Of course we have a part to play, but I believe that there is something. There's something about this idea when you can step up and become that wife to help us, because we need that. There's something transformational about that. And I want that to become the story of your marriage as well. Now, many wives like you have had their own struggles at some point in doing this very thing. The good news is there are things you can do to become the wife your husband needs and create the kind of relationship you've always wanted. This is what I know. And I know this from my many years of working with so many couples, but I also know this from my own personal journey, which I'll share with you in a few moments. But I know that you want to connect deeper with your husband, and you want to feel special and loved by him. Am I right? I think if you would say anything else, maybe this video is not for you. You may want to go someplace else for something that you're looking for. But I believe that you want to have a deeper connection, and that's why you're here. You want to feel special and feel loved by your husband, and I believe it's possible. It's possible. And so I'm speaking to you to do your part. So Kingsley, well, why don't you speak to the husband too, that he can do his part? Trust me. I believe that there's something dynamic about the position you hold that as husbands, we don't. And I can't explain this more or express this as strongly as I'm feeling it, but I think you have a tremendous opportunity and position to transform your marriage. So as you listen to this video, ask God to reveal to you what he wants you to do with what you hear, and don't allow your emotions to in any way derail you. Now, if you're new to this channel and you're wondering who I am to speaking on topics like this one, let me just say I'm Kingsley Grant, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified relationship coach. I've counseled and coached hundreds of married couples over the many years I've been doing this with a high percentage of success. Now, I've seen some that have not worked out. I get it. Some have seemingly were going to work, and then I hear later it didn't. I understand, but I can tell the majority of the people I've worked with have had successful outcomes and today still continue with that. But not only that, I'm also a husband myself and been married for almost 4 decades. Man, 4 decades. As of this recording, I'm celebrating as of this recording. So you may be watching this at a later time and you're wondering, but in July of 2023, I'll be celebrating 38 years of marriage. 38 years. Can you imagine that? Okay. So I have had some experience myself. Now, I've been at this for quite some time, as you can imagine, as you can understand. And it's becoming more and more apparent to me that the wife is the key to the transformation of the marriage. If you haven't heard that by now, you heard that. You hear this coming from me, and it is. Now, it may feel like, Kingsley, you're putting the burden on the marriage on me as a wife, and it feels like that is what you're. Listen, I can see how you could think that, but I believe that is calling you to up to from an average person. I'm not saying you're average, but what average relationships are, average marriages, to an extraordinary one, because you're that extraordinary wife. And there are 3 reasons I've come to that conclusion. The first one is, I believe that you have more influence on the marriage than you give yourself credit for. I believe the wife does hold that position, as I said earlier. She holds the card. You hold the card. I believe that as a wife, you're more invested in the marriage than your husband is, generally speaking. So I believe that you're more open to making the necessary changes. And thirdly, I believe that when you're empowered to carry out the role assigned to you by God as your husband's helpmeet, you and your marriage is unstoppable. And then these are just some of the reasons I believe that if the mission of making marriages happier again is going to be realized, I've got to give you the tools. I've got to give that extraordinary wife the tools to make it happen. So here are 3 questions that I want you to ponder as we get into the content of this video. Number 1, what are some of the things that your husband has said, have told you that he needs from you? What have been some of those things? And when he did or have done that, what have your response been? Secondly, what are some of the things that you think your husband needs from you that he hasn't told you? And thirdly, what are some of the things that you can do to start meeting your husband's needs? Okay. Now, even with what I've just shared with you earlier about my mission and what it is I want to see happen by sharing this video with you, you might be thinking, how can a man, Kingsley, you're a man. How can you understand what I go through as a wife? Now, I fully understand where you're coming from, and I can never fully understand what it is to be a wife, because I'm not, but I have one for almost 40 years. I have a daughter. I've worked with many wives within many years. So I can't fully understand what you go through, but I do know what husbands go through. I do know how husbands think and feel. And so I want to give you some of the inside scoop that you need, plus making certain that we allow God to be the final authority on how our marriage is, not anybody else. Our marriages should be. Now, you might be thinking, that you might think trying to be the wife your husband needs is a lost cause. You might say, I've done that, and it's not for lack of trying. Now, if you have had those thoughts or any of that similar thoughts, rest assured, I want to say to you, you're not the only wife who does. Because here's what some wives have said. Let me share with you some of the things that some wives have said. 3 things, but just quickly here. Some wives have said that, my husband and I are different. We're just different. And so because of their difference, they're thinking this is not going to happen. And so they're saying because of that, they don't know how to meet their husband, how can become the wife their husband truly need. They also have said, I've tried to be a good wife, but it's not working. It hasn't worked. And the question that also comes up is, what if my husband doesn't appreciate my efforts? What if he doesn't appreciate my efforts? Then what? Now, I get it. I get it. Each couple is unique and every relationship is unique, and challenges do arise. They do arise. I get that. And these are valid concerns if you have any of the above. But I want to assure you that it's possible to connect with your husband, and it's possible to become the wife your husband needs. It's yes, it might not be easy. I get it. It might not be easy, but it's worth it. It's worth it. The principles I'm going to share with you, or the strategies that I'm going to share with you in this video, are rooted in understanding and respect. It's understanding and respect, which are, I believe, universal foundations for a happier marriage. That's what I believe. Now, if you're struggling with any of these objections that I've just shared, I encourage you to keep watching. I'll share some strategies that can help you connect with your husband and to truly become the wife your husband needs. And it's easier than you can imagine, or say not easier, simpler, not easy, right? It may not be easy, but it's simple. It's simpler than you can imagine. Now, if you have anything I've just said that resonated with you, or you kind of have bowed your head and nodded somehow, let me hear from you. I would love for you to comment below with your thoughts on what I've just shared. And also, while you're at that, smash that subscribe button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button so you will get be notified of any future videos that I do here that you may have missed. So you won't miss any if you just click that subscribe button, and also the notification bell if you want to be notified as well of that. Now, here are some things I believe it's good to know while you're doing this, because it's like, okay, why am I, what's in it for me? Well, there are some benefits of embracing this, what I believe, transformation, and becoming the extraordinary wife your husband needs. And not to mention the incredible benefits for you. Now, here, there are many benefits, but I want to share with you three benefits of why I believe this might be in your best interest. Number one, you'll feel more loved and appreciated by your husband. Okay. When I get into strategies, you'll see why you'll feel more loved and appreciated by your husband. Number two, you'll have a stronger sense of purpose and fulfillment in your marriage. And number three, you'll be more likely to have a happy and fulfilling sex life, that physical intimacy. These things are beneficial for the marriage, but also for you as well, simply by doing the things I'm going to outline in a few moments. Now, these are just a few of the benefits I want to share. And so these benefits are going to be what you'll see in a few moments. I'm going to share with you a story about Sarah, and you'll see how she experienced these benefits when she also decided that she wanted to become the wife that her husband John needed. I want to share the brief story with you here at this point to kind of make the case, or to kind of give you what it may look like in a relationship. Now, Sarah and John been married for 13 years. They have 2 children, and they both work full time. That might be your story as well, or close to your story, or parts of it may be your story. Now, Sarah has always wanted to be the best wife she can be for John, her husband. She's been struggling lately. She feels like she is not doing enough for him. And she's really at this point not sure how to meet his needs, not sure how to become the wife he needs. And one day she decides to talk to John about how she's feeling. Okay, she decided to talk to John about how she's feeling. She tells him that she wants to be the wife he needs, and she asks him for help. Wow, how vulnerable. Let me not comment. I want to tell you the story. And now John is understanding and supportive, and he tells Sarah that she's doing a great job. And he gives her some tips, ideas on how to meet his needs or become the wife that he truly needs. Okay. Now, as you think about the story I've just shared with you of Sarah and John, I want to ask this question to you. What did Sarah do in her attempt, and also what John did? But because I'm speaking to you as a wife, then you can ask your husband that question. But what did Sarah do in her attempt to be to be the wife that John needed? Now, I wrote 3 things down, and I want to see if they match yours. Here are the 3 things I wrote down as I read the story to you and I listened to the story myself. Number 1, she desired. to be that wife. She desired to be that wife. That's the first thing she did. She desired to be that wife. The second thing she did was she acted on her desire. She acted on her desire. And the third thing, she requested his help. She became vulnerable and requested his help to see how she can become that kind of wife. So she was determined. She truly wanted to be. And I can guarantee that this marriage is going to experience transformation. And so can yours, if you are able to also possibly do like what Sarah did. Okay. Now, so what are 3 strategies that you could implement to be the wife your husband needs? What are 3 strategies? Now, before I give those 3 strategies to you, I want to encourage you to at least at this point gauge how this issue of not fulfilling or not being as much as the wife your husband needs as you would like to be, and maybe he wants from you, and how that's impacting your marriage. And you're not certain. There's some ambiguity, there's uncertainty there. Maybe you're thinking that, is there a way to find out the state of my marriage? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Now, I've created a simple marriage assessment quiz that you can take in less than 90 seconds that will give you a general idea of the state of your marriage. You can access that quiz if you're interested at happiermarriagesecrets.com/quiz, happiermarriagesecrets.com/quiz. You'll get a downloadable PDF that explains your results that you have gotten and give you a next step suggestion. So again, at happiermarriagesecrets.com/quiz, you can access that there as well. And the links will also be in the description that follows this video. Now, what are the 3 strategies that, as a wife who desire to be the wife your husband needs, that extraordinary wife, what are the 3 strategies and how do you implement them? The first one I want to share with you is this. You want to cultivate respect and appreciation. I cannot tell you that this is one of the biggest one for a husband, for us as men, but as husbands. Cultivate respect and appreciation. Let me give you some ways to do that. Listen to your husband when he talks to you and try to understand his point of view. Now, I know the immediate thing what I hear many times. So what about me? Shouldn't he do that as well? We could go on back and forth on this so many times, but don't miss this mind. I'm not speaking to your husband right now. I'm speaking to you. I love the story of what Jesus and Peter came to Jesus and said to him, what about John? Right? What about John? And Jesus says, Peter, what is that to you? Follow me. See, we're so easy to shift and deflect, and then we miss out on what we need for ourselves because we're so worried about somebody else. My friend, I can tell you, stay in your lane, do you, because you're only responsible for you. When you do what you do, I believe you can see transformation. And that's why I speak to people who want something better, who wants to do this. I'm not for those who are going to get in this game of tit for tat, or what about this? What about him? What about my husband? Listen, if that's what you want, then you can have that and get more of the same that you've always gotten. But if something is going to change, you've got to do something different. And so what I'm exposing and sharing with you here, I believe is going to be helpful. So listen to your husband and try to understand his point of view. See, when you do that, you're modeling what you also want for yourself. Tell him how much you appreciate him for the things he does for you and your family, the family. Appreciation. Sometimes he doesn't know if if all he's been doing is appreciated. As a matter of fact, I've heard so many husbands said to me, I don't feel appreciated. I don't feel like what I've done for my wife and the family has been appreciated. And I don't think that it's true that he is not being, but he doesn't hear it maybe at all or even that much. And also be supportive of your husband. Let him know you believe in him and you're there for him no matter what. Say, listen, I'm a husband. I'm trying to help you because you've been telling me, I'm not talking about you per se, but wives have told me many times what they were looking for in their marriage. I'm thinking, okay, start with yourself. I love what the Psalm in the Bible says. God, search me, oh God, and see if there's any wicked ways in me or any way out of alignment. Lord, help me to see that and take care of that. Search me. Start with me. And I love what Jesus said. He said, why worry about the speck in someone else's eyes when you have a beam, per se, in your eyes, or the log in your eyes? So don't worry so much about what you see about the other person is not doing. What is it that you do? Right? So be supportive. You believe in him, that you're there for him. Number two, you want to enhance emotional connection. So what I mean by that, you want to spend time together doing things you both enjoy. Talk to each other about your feelings and what's important to you. Now, he may not share his feelings as much as you do, and it's okay, but talk to him anyway and try to get that out of him. And don't be frustrated if he doesn't have the words to communicate his feelings as well as you do. And also be physically affectionate with each other. Talk about your day. Talk about your dreams. Those are the things you can do that will allow you to then enhance emotional connection, right? Because it's emotional there. You're speaking about things and you're creating the feelings that go along with that in the relationship. And number three, so number one was, I said, is cultivate respect and appreciation. Number two is enhance emotional connection. And number three is prioritize self-care and personal growth. This is very important. Take care of your physical health. Eat healthy foods. Sleep well. Exercise regularly. This is your self-care. This is what you're doing for you. These are the things that will make you feel good and feel about yourself. Take care of your emotional health. Find ways to relax and de-stress, because those things can spill over in your relationship. Talk to someone you trust if you're feeling overwhelmed. A therapist, a good friend, a pastor, someone you can trust. Talk to them about those things. Just don't hold it in and do it all by yourself. And pursue your personal interests. Do things that you enjoy. There's nothing wrong with that. Do things that you enjoy and make you feel good about yourself. Okay? These are very important things. Now, so as we kind of wind down here in this video, we've talked about extraordinary wife, and especially because you are a wife that wants to honor God. Being the wife your husband needs, it aligns with this journey you're on in becoming what the Bible calls a helpmeet for your husband. When you become this helpmeet, and the fullest expression of that, you will see the difference your marriage become. Remember, you have the power. You have the power to make your marriage amazing. So don't be afraid to put in the work. Like I said, it's simple. It may not be easy. It takes some time. But together, when you're able to do this, you will see the benefits of that, right? It honors God. It brings you both joy, and you'll see the fulfillment and transformation that comes. So I hope this video has given you the importance of being the wife your husband needs. We've looked at some of the common objections that some wives have, and maybe you as well. We've also shown you how to overcome them. We've also talked about the benefits of being the wife your husband needs. And we also share with you a story of Sarah and John and how Sarah struggled also with this issue and what she did, right? To remember this as an helpful insights. If you're struggling to connect with to be the wife your husband needs, I encourage you to start today. Begin to implement what we discussed today. Let him know that you want to understand him better and you're willing to put in the effort to make it happen. I know it takes vulnerability. I mean, you have to be vulnerable. I know it can be scary. You might be thinking that what if? Trust me on this. Act in faith, not fear. Let faith drive this, right? Trust that God has paved the way and do what you think God has called you to do. Again, as we wrap things up here, remember you can take the test at happiermarriagesecrets.com, happiermarriagesecrets.com/quiz. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't know this, I have a podcast that's called Happier Marriage Secrets that I cover topics like this one and many other topics. So you can also get access to that as well. The links will be below in the description. And leave a comment. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear anything you have to say about, pro or con. I'd love to hear that, or questions you have. Comment below so I can engage with you. So thanks for joining me today. And remember to subscribe for more empowering content. So until next time, peace out. God bless. And I'll see you on the next broadcast of this channel. Share this with someone else and continue to be, and so stay extraordinary. Stay extraordinary. Okay? God bless.